a recording. What was it? Saturday?
Saturday, yeah, Saturday.
Okay.
But I was in Montreal on talking on a phone, just my cell phone.
Yeah, and the connection crapped out. So we're number 2, baby. We're gonna do it this time.
Second time around. Here we go.
We got this done.
But then again, we had a big announcement today. So maybe it's maybe it
funny.
Worked out.
Funny how that worked out, because like I was like, okay, I'm gonna record tonight with Jared, and then I go on YouTube and I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Hot Pepper Gaming is going. It's done.
It's done. It's over with the last episode. Last episode came out today. Yeah.
So, I don't know how much you want to.
Oh, I can talk. I can talk all about it.
Okay, cool. I mean, obviously, I want to talk about other stuff too. But,
but I can give you all the hot details.
I got some questions. Yeah. Well, first of all, gotta say, and I'm not just sucking your dick here.
But if you were, that's fine too.
Right. Yeah. I actually loved the channel a lot, and I don't really watch a lot of YouTube, like honestly speaking, daily. But that was actually one of the few channels that I watched every video.
Oh wow! Thank you, man.
And man, that shit was great. And so, congratulations with like everything you guys managed to do. Like that shit went grew crazy fast.
It's such a strange thing because we were all working. Vernon loves to say we were like lower level creatives at Maker Studios at the time that we made that. Yeah. And like we'd seen like every fucking person and their mom had like their like homebrew bullshit YouTube channel where it's like, I'm gonna drink beer and talk about this movie I'm watching, and you're like, well, I don't know about that. And it's like 2 fat guys just like wearing half shirts watching Double Dragon on VHS. And you're like, all right, well, So we had no hopes. We had no hopes for this. We're just like, we're gonna do this dumb thing because we know that we can, and like we'll put it up and it'll probably die in utero, and that'll be the end of it.
Right.
And so we filmed the episodes, and I distinctly remember going in and being like, oh, you guys pre-wrote your reviews? Well, I'm not going to do that because at the time I was writing reviews professionally. So I'm like, I'm just going to do it from my meat space head. Here we go.
Right.
We put it out like a week later, and I remember going to sleep, and Vernon was like, oh yeah, I'm going to put it out tonight. Don't worry about it. And then I woke up the next day and checked Kotaku, and my face was on it.
Oh, shit.
And I was just like, oh, I guess this is like a thing now.
Yeah.
And then after that, it blew up really big for about, like a year and a half, 2 years.
Because I remember seeing the first, like on Facebook, like people on my Facebook feed or whatever were like, hey, this shit's pretty funny. And so, yeah, that would seem like, do you know, like, what was kind of like the initial sort of catalyst for like that just big growth? Was it?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that people really liked about it, and what I heard a lot from people in the industry later, was that, and I'm very familiar with this, game reviewing like sucks. Game reviewing is not, it's not a fun career path. It's not fun for the people who do it. Like I never had a good time doing it.
Right.
And it's not fun to read. It's like, it's aimed at like the extremely small segments of like passionate gamers who need to have their opinions fulfilled, like their opinions reflected back at them in a written format, or people who are legitimately trying to figure out if a game is good or not. And like they're both not huge audiences necessarily. So, and at the time there were like a lot of like weird scandals coming out, and like, not to invoke the name of Voldemort, but Gamergate was just on the horizon. And a lot of people were kind of burnt out on this method of like everything gets a 7, like we're all buddies with the publishers. There's not really any hard journalism anymore, kind of a thing. So when you and the big appeal was like you strip away all of the kind of excess with a pepper, and you're just left with this raw, shivering humanity.
Because I imagine, once you have that in your stomach, in your tongue, in your mouth, you're like, you can't really, like, you just kind of have to get that shit out.
Yeah, you just, it's whatever you have to say.
Yeah. It almost makes you just go like, this is my rawest thoughts on the game so I can finish this fucking video.
Exactly. You would see people just like ramble. The people who rambled off, like, it was because their lips were burning.
Yeah,
Nobody was
right.
like, yeah, last December I went to Kyoto and got to meet with the developers there, and it was great. Like I worked
Yeah.
with a guy for a while who was a big Halo 4 player, and he got so I was running this review show, and they're like, we're gonna do a guest review, and he's gonna write the review. And right before he was supposed to write the review, the new Halo developers, not Bungie, the guys that came afterwards,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they flew him out to like Reykjavik to play the new Halo. And of course, when he came back, he was like, "It's the greatest game ever." Also, they flew me to Reykjavik. So I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah. A little. Yeah. Right.
yeah. So there was literally there's never room. There's never room. Like Shuhei Yoshida was on the show, and he could only manage to get out like PlayStation, very good, Nuclear Throne.
Right.
So yeah, it's been a really crazy ride being able to and we were able to travel all around the world. I went to Paris, I went to like Texas a bunch, and Canada, off of Hot Pepper Gaming, like torture porn. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to put to bed, honestly, because it's such a strange concept. But yeah, it was a good ride.
I found myself like, obviously the pepper is the sort of pull into it, but I found myself, because I play games, but I'm not very up to date on like every single thing that comes out. And so what I loved most about it was like sometimes someone would review like an indie game, and I don't know like all the indie games that come out. So like some of those games looked really fucking interesting, and so I was like, it was like one of my few sort of sources of like game news almost, that channel.
Yeah, it's funny. We didn't like assign games to people. If you wanted to come on the show, it's like, all right, you have to have played something recently that nobody else has reviewed yet. And so like it had to be something that you specifically felt passionate about, whether love it or hate it.
Right.
Like, and it had to be something like relatively recently. We kind of eased that off later when people were like, I'm going to do a retro review. And those were really funny. And Andrew WK did like Brick Breaker, and that shit was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it ended up being like you had to have like extreme passion for the thing that you were talking about. And even then, like there was no artifice because you couldn't like fit it into 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, and I think that was conveyed really like clearly in the types of games that were chosen, and just the best reviews I thought were the ones where people like were really passionate about the game, and despite the agony they were suffering, like you can still see just how much they love the game.
Yeah, they're just trying to convince
even the
you.
reverse way, how much they hate the game was still kind of fun too. But
oh, dude, Godzilla the game for PS4.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing worse than a Godzilla fan scorned by a PlayStation 4 game. Like, whoo, whoo.
So I don't want this to be
the Hot Pepper funeral,
an interview, but I am curious though. Was there anything specifically that inspired the channel, like the concept itself? Like, how did that come about?
It's literally a dumb tweet. So at the time, Vernon was hanging out with Aaron.
Okay.
And I had literally just met Vernon. I've known Aaron since forever. So we went to college together. So I've known her for like 10 years now.
Okay.
And I had extremely recently met Vernon. Like she'd been like, "This is Vernon." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Hi, Vernon." And then like that had been it. That's all that we'd ever hung out. So they were hanging out one night watching a movie, and he's like, "Hey, you know what would be really funny? If you did a game review after eating a spicy pepper." And she was like, "Haha, yeah, that is funny." And he was like, "I'm gonna tweet that." And he tweeted it, and like I think it was like 1 retweet and 2 likes, and he was like, "That's enough. We're doing it. Like we're gonna do it." And that's literally how it was made.
Good. That's like how the best shit starts. It's just like, and you mentioned the idea of like, you're gonna put it out there and you don't care to like how many views or what attention it gets.
Yeah.
Not to like talk about me or whatever.
Not to beat off my own dick or anything.
Right. But I do, because I just read Vernon's sort of thoughts on his Tumblr.
His obituary? Yeah,
his obituary. And I personally can relate a lot to the notion of like just the sort of surreal feeling of like, this is just kind of shit that I put out there for fun, stuff that I like to do, and then for some reason or another it kind of just took off, I guess.
I mean, not to suck your dick or anything, but
Okay,
I've been watching. Yeah, I've been watching your stuff.
No,
for
please
a while.
do. Yeah,
no, I've been watching your stuff for a while, and it's funny because I play like a ton of JRPGs. So like every joke, just it's that fucking dick punch that I need. it's like, yes, I have seen this, and it's funny to riff on it like privately with my friends, just like, yeah, fucking, I always know when the evil guy's evil. Like, why does nobody else ever know that the evil guy's evil?
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all. And also, a lot of the videos are usually come from that kind of thing. Like, if I'm riffing with a friend or just usually if I'm just playing a game and I'm like, this fucking sucks. Oh, actually, that could be a good idea for a video. So yeah, that's generally how a lot of those are sort of born. But yeah, I had one other question. Oh, I guess I'm curious about when did you decide that you were going to end the channel? Like was that a while ago?
We've been talking about it. So like I said, the channel was popular for like 2.5 years. It was like going pretty strong.
Okay.
And then for the last like year and a half, it was starting to slow down. And like we've been in this game a while, so we were like, all right, like this is like the fade away moment. Because the thing with like a lot of channels is you have to put everything into it. Like you have to put every part of your being to make that channel a success. So when you see people like, Markiplier or PewDiePie, like it's easy to hate on them from like a viewership perspective because you're like, oh, it's just some dumb guy making dumb shit. But like the sheer amount of work you have to put into a channel is fucking crazy. And
editing and all that shit.
Yeah, and at first we were able to do that. Like during those boom years, none of us were like doing a whole lot. Like I think Aaron was running like Nacho Punch,
okay,
and then Vernon was like the like butt monkey of Nacho Punch, and I was like a freelance game reviewer working out of like the back room of Polaris. So like we were doing nothing. So we had all this time, and then through, ironically enough, Hot Pepper Gaming, Aaron went on to be like a creative director at BuzzFeed, and Vernon like first went to Disney, then went to Game Grumps, and I very quickly moved from, in order, The Muppet Show to Cards Against Humanity to Riot Games. So
oh shit, I didn't. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about those things, but anyway,
go for it. Yeah, I'm full of surprises. But yeah, that was like the most masturbatory thing I've said about myself all day. I'm amazing and full of mysteries.
I'm enigmatic and incredible.
And handsome and eligible, ladies. Right. But yeah, so as we kind of grew into the kind of places that we wanted to be, we were like, wow, Hot Pepper Gaming really did this amazing thing for us. We don't have time for Hot Pepper Gaming anymore.
Yeah.
Like literally, the side villain in like a coming of age movie. You're just like, sorry, Billy, like we left the small crappy town and now we run this business. Goodbye. Right. But we couldn't devote the time to it. So we were watching the numbers shrink slowly over time, and still cool things happened like all the time on that channel. We were like, great, this is awesome. But like we just couldn't devote any more time to it. And eventually we were like, all right, we had this like come to Jesus discussion over dinner one night. We're like, all right, we can either like put everything we've got into this channel, like make it something again, and like branch off and like do Hot Pepper Versus and all this crazy stuff. Or we like kind of fold it in a respectable way. And I think everybody was like, all right, yeah, I think it's time to fold it. Like we're all doing stuff now, and we're working on a project together that is secret even now. But yeah, and that'll be
all three of you together.
Two of us with input from the third.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, but yeah, we're we just
you got shit cooking.
You got shit cooking. So
I mean, it's better to, instead of forcing yourself to do something, and it's clearly something that you all agreed on. Like it's about time, which I think is better for you guys and for your creative pursuits and stuff.
Well, also none of us had really seen a lot of channels that kind of like put a button on it. Like they just kind of stop putting up videos and then they're dead and then they're gone. And it's like, whatever happened to those guys? But for us, we're like, no, here it is. It's the last episode. We literally called it the last episode, and it's done now.
And it's a nice it's a nice nugget of internet history.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just go through and watch all of them, and I do appreciate that you had like an end to it. I can respect when like a creator decides now is the time to end it, not beat it to death, not to start to hate it or lose the love you had for it.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, The Night Gallery.
Wait, what's the Night Gallery?
Oh man, when Rod Sterling finished The Twilight Zone, because like color television had come out.
Okay, yeah.
The next show that he did was called The Night Gallery, which was basically The Twilight Zone, but like 2 to 3 different shorts, and they were in color, and they were based off of paintings in a magic art museum, and it was bad. It was really bad.
I mean, I guess it's obvious why I have not heard about it.
Oh man, it's on Hulu though, and believe me, like give it a quick watch.
Okay.
Because wow, that is some bad television. Rod Sterling, who I respect, who is also dead.
Yes, he is also dead. Yeah. Okay. God. Because this is like our kind of first time we get to actually sit down and talk. So if you have questions for me, not that you have to ask them, but I just have a ton of questions.
What's it
for
like
you.
being amazing?
Oh, it's fantastic. How about you? What's it like being amazing?
It's so great. I can bench 100 pounds.
But what did you do on the Muppets show?
Yeah, so at the time I was working as an assistant to Rosanna Pansino.
Okay.
It's Nerdy Nummies, I believe. And I was a live-in assistant. We were living in an apartment together because they had saved me from the grips of poverty, which is a true story. I was living in an unfurnished garage next to, or like down the street from a Ralph's, which meant that I was constantly battling cockroaches.
Ooh, how fun.
Yeah, I know. My air was constantly full of like blowing diatomaceous earth. So I was just breathing in like bug poison all day long, every day. And then like when I wasn't putting down poison, I was covered in insects. So, it was really, I had recently moved back to LA because I'd moved to LA, worked at Maker, left for a girl to go and get ostensibly married. That didn't work out. So I came back with like $200 and my tail between my legs. It's it's the classic man story. And I was just writing like prose out of a garage. So I was miserable, obviously. And they came by and they're like, hey, we like your work. We like working with you. You're a nice dude. Come work as our assistant and we'll put you up and it'll be great. And I was like, cool. Yeah. So I worked with them for a long time. Then I moved out. And then right after, I don't know if you remember the Game Jam thing.
Oh, yeah. I don't know all the details, but I definitely heard about it.
Yeah. So Game Jam happened.
Yeah.
And for the Riot Games application process, I had applied earlier, but after that happened, they reached out to me and were like, yo, you gotta, like, you're gonna be with us now. But there was still like a 5-month gap where I didn't have any work and I didn't have enough money to live for more than 2 months in my apartment.
Okay.
So, luckily, fucking Ro pulling it out again. Like, Ro and Mike hit me up and they're like, hey, the Muppet Show is doing a couple of episodes with us and they need, we need a writer to come on and write for Miss Piggy and Swedish Chef.
Oh, shit.
Like, and that means that you're going to write for the Muppet Show with the Muppet Show guys. Like, do you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah,
they're like, cool.
Right.
Just write some jokes, like write a page of jokes, send them in, and we'll use them on the show. And I'm like, great. Ooh. And I wrote the jokes and sent them in, and they used them on the show. And I'm like, oh my God, I just got credited on the Muppet Show.
That's fucking sick.
Holy shit. And then right after that, I got reached out to by Max Temkin, Cards Against Humanity, and then I wrote for Cards for a little bit, and that was cool.
Okay. So for that, for Cards Against Humanity, you just throw out suggestions for cards?
No, I did not write the cards. Fun fact.
Okay. What'd you do?
So they have a show called, oh my God, it's Tabletop Deathmatch, and it's where they have tabletop game makers, like designers, kind of battle it out at the conventions to see like who gets to have their card or their card or board game made through Cards Against Humanity. It's like it's like 15 board game designers, and then they have a panel of expert judges, and they like give them notes and go through revisions, and then like the winner obviously gets made. And my job was to track each one of them down, like track their process, and then interview them on both the entire process of designing a board game in their own life and like what it was like to be on the show, what it was like working with other competitors, and kind of suss out a story for each one of the contestants.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was really cool too.
That's cool.
Yeah. But no, I didn't like write the secret card. You can't like find the card I wrote.
Oh, okay.
Sadly.
Yeah.
I know I'm familiar with a lot of the cards that were being written at the time, but yeah, I did not at least directly contribute. If some of my jokes were appropriated, then that is totally fine.
Right. Well, shit. I just learned a lot more about you.
Fun facts. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Now let's get down to business.
Let's
here
get down to business and defeat the Huns.
Fire Emblem.
Oh God!
Because we were talking about that last time we sat down.
I've been playing it so goddamn much. I can't stop playing it. I have like maybe 6 levels on Lunatic to beat, but I can't do it without hitting level 40. Oh man, those endgame levels are tough. Those are some tough levels.
Is the max level 40?
The max level is 40 right now, yeah.
Okay.
And those last levels are real spicy, but the problem is that like the gulf of a couple points of stats are so like there's such a world of difference at level 40 gold stars that I have to have. My guys are all like level 38. I need those last 2 levels, and it is a grind to get there. Because those final levels, like you really are like, all right, this guy's definitely gonna die this turn. Like this guy's definitely gonna die this turn. Like you're playing some deep chess. Like, it's you and Deep Blue, one-on-one for an orb.
I am not nearly as far as you are. I'm like on like chapter, not like the last chapter of like the normal mode.
That's still a hard level if you haven't like way over leveled by then.
Yeah. And I'm enjoying the game quite a bit. Although it makes me, and this isn't even like a diss on the game, but it does make me want to play like the real Fire Emblem games because they're like that but better. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like I already said this to you, but it's basically like the best advertisement for Fire Emblem that Nintendo could have put out.
Oh God, it's so good. It's funny. I really want to go back and play Radiant Dawn, but I also remember playing Radiant Dawn, and it was so upsetting. You'd get all these cool characters, but like, oh, sorry, giant red lion that I got at the end of the game. I've been using giant yellow lion that I got at the beginning of the game, so he is just better than you immediately. Like you just can't compete with the guy I've already had, or like the RNG screwing a character over completely forever.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got this level up, but only one stat 3 times.
The one stat, like your RES is going up 1. That's it, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I also found out the hard way by trying to like gem level up my Robin in the app that you shouldn't do that.
Really? What happens if you gem level up?
So if you gem level in Fire Emblem Heroes, I think the maximum amount of level ups you can get, it always gives you SP. But I think the maximum amount of stats you can get is 2 per level.
Oh shit!
I know. I fucked up. Robin. Like I have a Tharja that's 5 stars who's better than Robin, who's 1 level higher than her. Jeez. And I just like I feel so dumb. I'm like I didn't have to do that. But I didn't know. It's a brand new app. I didn't know. I'm exploring things.
That's the thing. We don't like. There's no game fact for it. You just gotta learn or learn by doing. Basically,
it's like your first garbage character in a Bethesda game where you're like, I'm gonna try everything, and they end up being like horrible.
Yeah.
Just like, all right, God, I have to do something because I'm like kind of good at hands and kind of good at swords, but I can't do this. I can't beat anybody.
Right. Oh man. So forgive me if I repeat things. I'm for the benefit of the listener. So okay, quick run through. You played Radiant Dawn.
I played Radiant Dawn, Awakening,
and then all
Birthright.
3 Fates.
No, just Birthright.
Oh, just Birthright.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'm familiar with the storyline for all 3 Fates, but I really just wanted Azuna and Scarlet.
Hey, so for the next minute or so, there are spoilers for Fire Emblem Fates. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Fire Emblem Fates, then skip like 2 minutes. Giving you fair warning. Stop and skip. Hurry up.
And Scarlet dies in both of the other versions, and Izuna dies in the one where you get nearly everybody.
Oh yeah. That's right. I get the stories mixed up because I played
Yeah.
them. I played all three in like succession.
Scarlet's like cool. Scarlet's like a freedom fighter who's got freckles and blonde hair, and she rides a dragon, and they just like nuke her. They take her out to dinner.
Yeah, it's like a weird choice too because she's not like an especially important character in Birthright, but
Yeah.
for some reason I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird choice.
Yeah, they like
It's
introduce her and just bop her immediately.
And it's like if they picked like Sully in Awakening, just be like a sacrificial lamb at like chapter 18 or something. Like it's really weird.
That was another thing that drove me crazy about Radiant Dawn was there are a couple of characters in that game that die permanently in the storyline, and you don't know which ones. So sometimes you're like, "This is my guy. This is my fucking guy," and then like the next chapter goes by, and you're like, "Where'd my guy? I needed him. I needed my guy."
That fucking sucks. Oh man, I don't even know if I'm gonna play Radiant Dawn because I never beat Path of Radiance, but I kind of want to go back now because of Nintendo's ingenious advertisement. Now I want to go back and play.
Oh, dude, did you
first
like
GBA game?
Did you like the like
US.
Tagwell and Awakening and like the Kitsune and Wolf skins?
The what? Sorry.
There's the
Which one are
Tagwell.
the
They're the
Tagwell?
rabbits. They're like pan.
Oh
and
yeah.
yarn. And then
that's
the
right.
Kitsune are
The foxes.
yeah,
and
then there's the wolf skins who are the unicorn werewolves.
that's right.
So in that system was brought in from the Tellius series, which is Radiant Dawn and Path of Awakening, or sorry, Radiant Dawn and then Path of Radiance. They have these things called the Tagwell, which
Aren't
are
those the big tiger guys, or is that? A different thing?
There's tigers, lions,
Yeah, like a bunch of
cats,
them.
ravens,
Yeah, that's
hawks.
right.
There's these
Yeah.
heron dudes. They're pretty cool. Oh man, I really miss them. I was looking for transformations in the lead up to Heroes. I'm like, where are they? Where are the transformations? And all I saw was Faye, who's like a fucking like peep, like an Easter peep. I'm like,
Yeah,
all
I
right,
saw
well,
the design. I guess, and I didn't know the design was from the original. Like, was that in the game?
Yeah.
Like, it looks ridiculous.
And it's like, no, that's what it's supposed to look like. That's
Looks like a bad Neopet.
It's like a bad Neopet. Meanwhile, Tiki from Awakening and Naui, I call her Newt, but Naui from Awakening, both have like that weird like kelp forest thing going on.
Right.
And then like Tiki from the original game is just like a big white dragon.
And Corrin's like the weird spiky dragon.
Yeah, Corrin's
thing.
got the weird spiky thing, but you can't get them at level 5. It's so upsetting. They're so good, but they only roll at 4 stars, and I'm like, I want you because you're good.
Yeah. And I've been rolling shit in that game, like just real bad.
I was like gloating about it on Twitter about how lucky I was because it was like back to back 5-star Robin, 5-star Chrom, 5-star Tharja, and then 5-star fucking Takumi, and then immediately afterwards another 5-star Takumi. So I was able to upgrade him to a Takumi +1, who's just disgusting. He's already the best character. Yeah, that character sucks. Like, I'm sorry, Fire Emblem. I know that you're listening right now, John Fire Emblem, but Takumi is very badly written and really, really sucks. And they have like a whole like actually he was evil but not storyline that's bad also as well. And yet in the game, his stats are super min-max towards attack, so he can one-shot everything. If you plus one a character at low levels, their stat increases go bananas.
Oh,
so,
shit, son.
Yeah, he's just like by and far the best thing I've got on my team.
Yeah, even in Fates, he's a really good character gameplay-wise, but man, is he a fuck.
He's annoying. He's a fucker.
Because in Conquest, the younger brother character is way better.
Leo,
yeah. He's way cooler. Takumi's a little fucking shithead.
He is. He's like, nobody likes me. I wish I was the prince. Ooh. And you're like,
he's
get
that
out of here.
Riku, Sasuke fucking archetype of just annoying little shit that a demographic loves, and meanwhile I'm like, I have no patience.
He is. He's a total fucking Sasuke. He's a total fucking Sasuke.
That's absolutely
I wish that was a playground insult. Like, dude, this guy's a fucking Sasuke.
We could start that.
Yeah. This dude's such a fucking Sasuke.
I've always fucking hated Sasuke.
Sasuke, Riku was also just like, I know they tried to make him cool in later Kingdom Hearts games, but like, what a
He's
turd.
okay later on, but man, in that first game, is he a shithead? It's always
he's wearing boat shoes.
Badly written, mean characters who make dumbass decisions.
Yeah, and they have white hair for no reason.
Exactly.
They all have white hair. Ugh, I have white hair. I go to Hot Topic. It's great.
So what do you currently like besides Fire Emblem? What do you currently like into? Like any shows or games or other hobbies? Or
I have been crushing Final Fantasy 15. I recently 100%ed the game, which is a monumental task because of the fishing minigame.
Okay.
That was awesome. But I also 100%ed Phantom Pain, which is also disgusting and nasty. Yeah, I don't know. When I get into a game, I really get into it. I've also been playing Abyssurium a lot. Or Abyssurium.
We talked about that a little bit. There was like a couple months period where I was really into that.
They just updated all the fish again. I was back in there and I'm like, oh my god, it goes up to like CH. Oh, holy crap! I gotta get all these dudes.
I was really close to pretty much quote unquote beating it. Like getting it, I had almost like every achievement or whatever, every thing, and then they put out an update, and I was like, God damn it! I think the publisher or the developer switch or something. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, because they changed.
I think a new developer.
Fish. Yeah,
yeah. I think a new developer is in charge of it now.
That might be the case, because there was a bug when they first updated the app where because I was like 1 day away from getting the giant squid at the end of the calendar. And then it didn't give it to me. It just unlocked the orefish again. And I went to the Abyssurium Reddit because I'm a giant nerd.
No, I went there too, man. I got deep into that shit.
Yeah, dude, if I'm going to play a game, I'm going to go deep. Like there's no if I'm going to I need to go deep. It's important to me. So, I was in there and they're like, "Yeah, well, this developer never fixes anything on time." And it was fixed like the next day.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it might be a new developer. They might have sold the app because I was looking at their revenue and they were making it was something like $14,000 a week on the app.
Yeah.
So it's not a big team, definitely, because they couldn't afford to have a team that big. But it's certainly a profitable game. So,
yeah, definitely. For me, I don't remember what made me stop. First of all, the art style in that game is gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
absolutely beautiful. I don't remember what, but usually what'll happen, it was probably some kind of bug or something. Because I was also playing Tap My Katamari, whatever that's called on the iPhone.
Tap My I used to work on that game.
Oh really?
Well, not on that game specifically. I worked on Touch My Katamari in QA, which is really really funny.
Which one's Touch My Katamari?
It's the PS Vita one. Yeah,
PS
PSP.
Vita.
Yeah, PS Vita. Yeah, PS Vita.
PS Vita? Okay.
PS Vita.
Yeah, I played the iPhone Katamari, and I got really, as you know, I do with. I'm very curious because depending on the game, I get super into a game. So I want to talk about that with you. But
oh man, completioning, the completioneering.
Oh yeah, it gets really bad for me. But yeah, Tap My Katamari I played for a while, and then something happened where what happened was I think I fucking lost my data.
No,
and there's no way in that game to like you can't link it to like your,
there's no auto save. You have to save to the cloud from like a gear menu,
something like that. And so I was like, all right, I'm done with that, I guess.
Dude, you know what happened? That I was playing. So Final Fantasy Record Keeper came out.
Which one is that?
It's Brave Exvius, but not as good.
Okay.
It was like the first Square Enix mobile app that was not shitty in a long time.
Okay.
Because they had just put out, or the one before that was All the Bravest, that like really really scummy one. There was it had like $400 worth of microtransactions, and you had to get them. So. Record Keeper was the 16-bit one or 8-bit. Yeah, it was the 8-bit one where you're you go to different Final Fantasy worlds and fight classic enemies reimagined as pixels, and it's great.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, tight. I'm down with that. And I was really deep into that game. I was unlocking everything. I had all this pre-order stuff, and Titus was unlocked early, and I'm like, I'm great. This is awesome. It's gonna be the first time I'm like in one of these gacha games or a mobage.
Yeah.
Where I'm ahead of the curve. And then I got a new phone, and all my app data switched over, and I had prepared because there was a way, there was like this convoluted way to get your save data into a new phone. You had to like upload the data into a transfer save, and then like go in and use the code they gave you, and then you were fine. So I'm like, great, I got this, everything's fine. Right. And then I put in the code, it's like, that code doesn't exist. And I'm like, so I linked my Game Center account, and then I tried it again. They're like, still doesn't exist. And then I'm like, okay, wait, no, I'm gonna do this again. And then I'm like, all right, get the download. I got it. And they're like, no save data's on here. There's no save. Fuck you. We don't have the save. So I'm like, all right, I guess I don't play this game anymore.
Yep, that's the thing. Like, if you lose that, it's like, well, this game doesn't exist to me anymore.
I guess that game died. It's like if you stop dating somebody in the 50s.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like they're
gone.
They're dead now. They're gone.
I'll never see them again.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I moved, so they're dead.
Yeah. Oh man. That's a fucking gut punch.
Dude, it's a big gut punch, but like also Abyssrium, like at least Abyssrium is like a tap game though. Where you're like, all right, I could conceivably, if it deleted the data today, I would never go back. But right. But like if it was like early on, I'd be like, okay, like I can get everything back. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, Abyssrium was good shit.
Now you can have a tank full of polar bears now, which is great.
Oh, fuck, maybe I should go back.
Well, you can't get the polar bears now because it's a Christmas event, but if they're willing to put one kind of bear in, I bet they'll put more.
Yeah. Just make it a fucking zoo, you know?
Oh, yeah, Zooquarium.
Just do whatever you want. Going back to being a completionist.
Yeah.
So I'm not the type of person who completes everything, you know, because that's not my thing.
Yeah.
But very specific games, I will dedicate like just disgusting amount of time. Like, did you play Animal Crossing New Leaf?
I did not. I've been eyeing it in the App Store, and I'm like, oh no. Because I know what'll happen. Like I'm aware.
Is it on the App Store?
Or not the App Store? The DS App Store.
Damn.
Yeah, the DS Store. But
okay.
I was literally, I've been eyeing it up until Fire Emblem Heroes came out. I was just looking at it like, I want you, but I know what you'll do to me.
Oh man. Well, did you play any of the other Animal Crossings?
I did. I played the GameCube one.
Okay. Well, the New Leaf, and I know you know everything. I'm sure you've seen reviews and stuff, but New Leaf makes the GameCube one look like shit.
Yeah,
it is so fucking good, and
gives it a swirly. It pushes it into a locker.
Yeah, essentially. So it's like in the game, they added this kind of achievement system. Are you familiar with this at all? The badges? Do you know what those are?
Yes, I know what the badges are. Yes.
Okay. So it's like you can get bronze badges, silver badges, gold badges. And, you know, it's like, oh, get all the fossils. You get, like, the fossil badge. Get all, you know, blah, 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 blah. But some of the requirements are absurd. Like, do this many visiting other people's towns. Do this, like, play the game for this certain amount of time.
Oh, no.
One of them was seriously buy, like, 90% of the items in the game and have them cataloged in your catalog.
Jesus.
I gold badged that game. I got every gold badge. I played that game every day for 2 years, and I spent like 800, 900 hours. I gold badged everything.
That's so scary.
That might be the most disgusting crowning achievement in my gaming history in terms of completion.
I can straight up just say it was Phantom Pain. It was Phantom Pain.
Okay, so describe. I haven't played it. So what?
Phantom Pain.
Describe how disgusting your achievement is.
So Phantom Pain. Every mission has like 3 or 4 extra objectives, and some of them are easy, and some of them are like very, very, very difficult. Like you have to play the mission just to get that one objective.
Okay.
Some of them there's certain gear that makes the game really easy, but you can't use it in those missions because you have to get an S rank on the mission, plus all of the extra stuff, plus you have to find all the stuff in the overworld, plus you have to build your base up. Which to get all of the things in the base at the time the game came out, you had to be able to get multiple away bases. So you had to play the online mode, the FOBs.
Okay.
And to get the best stuff, you either had to have max rank of every soldier in every part of the single-player campaign, which is impossible to do and maintain.
Okay.
Or you have to have 3 or 4 fully upgraded, fully maintained FOBs with a completely upgraded staff that were like, S plus and everything.
Okay.
And to do that, you have to build your heroism because the enemies don't start getting to S rank until you have like over 155,000 heroism. So every mission gives you like, 500 heroism or like 1,000 heroism.
Okay.
Plus the developed items are on a timer, so it's like, okay, this developed item is going to take 4 days in real game time, in real world time to make.
Yeah.
Plus, like, there are like special soldiers that you can get, which you can only get in certain missions, and then they don't ever leave your base. So it's a fucking nightmare. It's a goddamn nightmare hell. And like, there's like obviously there's like Kojima tricks that you have to use to do some of the stuff. There's one mission late in the game that you infiltrate the skull base, and then you have to get to the end in like under a minute, and it's this massive complex.
Okay.
There is one way to do it. It's by throwing 5 smoke grenades into the front seat of a Jeep, and then driving the Jeep with the smoke grenades.
Yeah.
Through the base with the dog in the passenger seat smelling where enemies are so you don't accidentally hit one.
Okay.
And then you get to the end, jump out, and run up and finish the level without getting... And you have to not be seen the whole time.
Now, is that the way to do it, or is that just one way
That's
to do it?
That's the only way to get that mission
Like, intentionally so? Or did people, like...
I'm sure there's, like, an actual way to do it. Like, in FOB mode, the FOBs got really scary lately because there's, like... a human element now where you can put your own custom landmines and cameras everywhere. So if you play the game a lot, you've got like 16 custom cameras in addition to like the regular like static cameras plus mines everywhere and all the hiding places and like at the top of ladders. It's very, very hard to infiltrate a top level base unless you've been doing it for a while and you know that you can like cheese the jump and slide system and like you can like fire while in the slow motion mode, while in midair. So, there's a lot of like secrets to getting around that. Also, if you don't mind like losing a little bit of heroism so you can keep more heroism later, like just snipe them. Just snipe them in the face with like a big ass sniper rifle and hope to God that nobody counter invades you because then you just lose probably.
Okay. How long did this take you to 100? First of all, is there a like 100 like a percentage, like a visible percentage thing?
There's a visible percentage. And the visible percentage can get finished before you have everything.
Oh, okay.
So
but you actually got everything.
I actually have everything in the game.
How long did that take you to do?
I couldn't even tell you.
Okay.
The game came out, and I got it 2 days early from a retailer that I know. I've been friends with them for a long time, so he gives me games early.
Okay.
Which, by the way... If you have a local game store near you, become friends with the owner. Be friends with the owner because they will break street date for your ass and it will be awesome. Yeah. But so I got that 2 days early, and 2 days early I was playing it like every waking second of the day. Shit. And I'm a writer. Like I have to like
you have a job.
I have a job that I need to do. So like in between writing and work, I'm just like jamming on this game. I'm staying up till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning every night. And I'm just like I got to do it. I got to ruin all my relationships. I'm like not seeing friends. I don't go on dates. I'm just like a shell of a human being. And then I finally like 100% of the game. And the 100% came way after everything else when I had finally dismantled 10 nukes.
Okay.
From other, which is impossibly hard.
Okay.
So after dismantling 10 nukes, you get this little plaque that sits on your base and it says that you dismantled all these nukes, and you get like a dumb cutscene, and then and that's it. You've got everything now. And I was like, fuck, like I'm gonna stop. Like that's it. I'm gonna stop. That was crazy. That was good.
Yeah.
I jump in 4 months later to see how it's doing. My base has been trashed. Like online people have come in and stolen like all my best soldiers except for the ones that I locked on. So it's like literally the guys I've had who are like the top of the top are still there, and everybody else is missing. Like my GDP is gone, all my minerals were stolen, like all my shit's destroyed. And on top of that, there's like 100 new DLC items that were freely implemented into the game, which are like way better than everything I have. And I'm like, no. No, 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 no.
You're done.
I'm done.
You have to call it quits there.
Yeah, I'm just like, look, I'm gonna keep all of my soldiers, especially you, Flaming Buffalo, and Flaming Buffalo. All three of you who I stole before they patched that out are gonna stay here and watch over this dead, crappy base, which is a black praying mantis over the word, or over like kind of like posing over a heart, and it says "girl stealer."
Yeah.
Sorry, girl snatcher. That's what it was.
Okay, girl snatcher. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that was my base.
Nice.
So the girl snatcher base will live on in infamy, just sitting there quietly rusting in the ocean. But yeah, I devoted like easily 400 hours, 500 hours to that game.
Yeah. Well, even if people steal your shit, it doesn't matter because you did it.
I did it already.
Got the 100%.
You can have the shit. I unlocked all the bikinis. Like, I'm fine. I'm good.
You have thoroughly annihilated that game.
Yeah, I've got the platinum trophy, which, like, it's always nice to look at the platinum trophy and be like, oh, only 0.01% of players have this? That's so crazy.
I'm trying to think of other games that I have either 100. What are some other games? I think of some other games you have while I'm trying to think.
So, yeah.
One game I pretty much 100%ed Final Fantasy VII. Like, got everything. Like, I leveled up every materia all the way, even though I didn't need to.
Yeah. Chrono Cross. Oh, man, Chrono Cross.
Okay.
Back in the day, I have beaten Chrono Cross literally hundreds of times. If I sat down and played Chrono Cross today, I could find everything in it easily. I got down to beating that game without the charm. Once you beat the game, once you get a charm that, like, fast forwards the game. And I was able to speed run that game in like a couple of hours, hours. And it's like, it's easily like a 20-hour game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big one. Final Fantasy Tactics, War of the Lions. That was a great one. Both the PlayStation version and then later on the port with all of the Final Fantasy Advanced characters in it. Let's see. There were all Bethesda games. The original Skyrim I 100%ed, which is very hard to do and extremely time consuming. Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. I 100%ed all the Mass Effects.
Oh, dang.
And like multiple times to like make sure that I had multiple saves ready to go. Dragon Age. I 100%ed Dragon Age and Dragon Age 2 multiple times. Dragon Age 3, no, not today, Dragon Age 3. You 75-hour slog. No. But the other two, yes. There's like, there were like countless games where I would sit down and just like pour myself into them like a sieve. Like this is just, I gotta have it. Like I gotta have it.
Yep. I find these days that if I'm gonna like play the game, it really has to suck me in. And I feel like I've just gotten pickier about games over time.
We're getting turned into old farts now.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Yeah, and I think that the deeper you get into like a hobby or whatever, the more particular and picky you're gonna be anyway.
Yeah. Which is why it's part of the reason that like games journalism, to go full circle again, it's part of the reason that like games journalism is kind of like, it's weird to outsiders looking in. Because like a lot of them are younger and they're like, every game is great, and you're like, no,
it's not.
Like
this game may be fine, but there are 10 games I can think of that are this game but way better.
When I was a kid, I would play fucking anything. Do you ever play Croc?
Right. No, I didn't play Croc.
Because I played the shit out of Croc.
Yeah.
And Croc is just like a shitty Spyro. And Spyro is just like, it's an open world or like semi-open world Crash Bandicoot. And Crash Bandicoot is like a top-down Mario. So there's like...
Everything's kind of a version of
everything's a version of something else. And there are some versions that are better than others. And Croc is not fucking one of them.
Croc is on the bottom tier.
I mean, it did get its sequel, Croc 2. Which you save the Gobbo, save the world. Like, I don't know what a Gobbo is. I don't really care. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, and there are some of those bad games that like have a really special place in my heart. Like Dragon Seed and Monster Seed were two games that like should not exist.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, they're like weird JRPGs.
What was it for?
They're for PlayStation, both, and
Okay.
they're fucking weird. And I love them. I love those games. They're so dumb and bad. Master of Monsters for the PlayStation, like, oh my god. Like,
It just sounds like you're making things up.
I know, it sounds like I'm
names
making shit up. It sounds like I'm making shit fucking up. Guardians Crusade for the PlayStation 1.
These sound like video game
Cardia.
titles you see in like a cartoon, like fake video game.
Fake video
titles.
games. Dude, Cardia is like a Final Fantasy Tactics ripoff where you summon golems out of cards, and they're like
Okay.
all ugly and terrible. Oh,
Yeah.
man. There's infinite. If you really dive into the world of video games, there are infinite shitty games. I have a shelf behind me just full of games, and did you know that there's a Celebrity Deathmatch video game?
I think I
MTV
did.
Celebrity Deathmatch? Because
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I knew about that. Yeah.
There's a Starsky and Hutch game out there, and the company that made MTV Celebrity Deathmatch the game, which by the way has a now deceased Anna Nicole Smith shooting clay milk out of her clay breasts.
Oh.
It's so super blasphemous. That
Yeah.
company went out of business on the back of Starsky and Hutch the game. Like there's a hidden world of like shitty ass half-ass game development out there that's just ripe for the plucking if you know where to look. And my whole childhood, because I had it's typical Americana white boy. Like I grew up pretty poor, but my mom married into stability.
Okay.
And unfortunately, like her and her husband were both like very helicoptery, so I never really went out. My brother was very
okay.
social. He was like the sports kid, so they were like, well, you remind me of a man, so you get to go out and do things.
Yeah.
And then they kept me in like a weird like basement and threw fish heads inside and like old pigeons, and it was great. So all I did was play games, and so many of those games were like objectively bad.
Yeah.
But they were my window into the greater world, which, not exactly healthy. I had to unlearn a lot of that later on.
yeah.
But
Maybe being raised on just that as your
raised on like Ark the Lad, Twilight of the Spirits, and you're like, oh no, this is
Right.
maybe picked up some bad from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just like you'll learn so much about the foibles of game development by playing like hundreds upon hundreds upon thousands of just shitty ass terrible games. It also makes you
But when
like,
you're
really
a kid, you love them.
Oh yeah, no, I love them. Do you remember Bugdom? Do you ever have the Color Mac?
No.
So on Color Macs, there was this game that shipped with a Color Mac called Bugdom.
Okay.
And it's like this I would barely call it a playable game. Where you're like a roly-poly, like a blue roly-poly saving your girlfriend who is not a roly-poly from, if I remember correctly, ants or hornets. Not entirely sure. And it plays like really annoying.
I don't think it matters too much.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. And the enemies were like feet and snails.
Oh, okay.
Like giant snails and giant feet, which would crush you. And the game was like incredibly hard to play. Like I played the shit out of Bugdom because it was the only game I could play on a computer. My parents were like very much like they were like, don't go outside, but don't play video games also because we don't trust them. Which really backfired when my career became video games. Right. Because now you can't sit down and be like, we always supported him in his weird game playing hobby. But it was the only game I could play and not have to turn on a PlayStation. So there were no extra steps involved. If I needed to get out really quick and save myself from a grounding, it was just minimize, like use the window key.
Yeah.
And Bugdom is just shit. And it was my savior. It was my shitty savior. Like if Jesus came down from heaven today.
Yeah.
And like he was like kind of pixelated and jaggy on one side, and like maybe there wasn't like the mapped right. He wasn't mapped correctly, so there was no collision. So he went like a third through the ground. He was walking through street signs, and like he was talking in garbles and like weird, like not modulated correctly shrieks. Like that would be my Jesus right there. Yeah. That's him.
Your weird, horrible video game Jesus.
My horror Jesus.
Yeah. Man, and when you're a kid, like it doesn't matter if the game is shitty.
No,
'cause it's your game. It's like that's what you have, and you play the shit out of it, and you love it.
Yeah,
And there's something pure about that.
there is something pure about that. I always hate because I tend to see, especially in guy like little boys, little girls not as much. Little girls are like pure and good, and but little boys are fuckers. Like, goddamn, I was one of those. Like, ugh. And I see it, and I'm like, God, I was like that. I was absolutely like that. It like makes me more mad to see a little boy being shitty because like it reminds me that I also was shitty. But they have like a couple of stages of if they're gonna like take like the gamer path, and one is like everything's beautiful and nothing hurts, and they just play everything, and they're so happy to play it. They're like, wow, it's great. And I remember that like, oh my God, the first Monster Rancher, like fuck, and then Monster Rancher 2. Oh my God. And all these games, Crash Bandicoot, Parappa the Rappa, Intelligence Cubed, games that like I don't even know the name of anymore. Like something about a green pearl, and it was like a third-person shooter where there were multiple characters. I don't fucking know. Who fucking knows? Battle Tanks, which was like Twisted Metal for the N64, but with tanks. Like, fuck. And you just loved everything. And then you get into your teens.
Yep.
And suddenly you're like a fucker. Suddenly you're like a little fucker.
Shithead.
It's like feeding a Mogwai chicken. Like, oh, I fucked up. And now they're going around town. They're killing old people with like pranks. And one's a spider for some reason. And one's made out of electricity. It's like
classic.
Yeah, a classic film. It's just Robert Zemeckis films from the 80s. That's for those tuning in just now. Why did you come here? But they start like really getting into like, no, only good games. Like there are no like bad games are shitty. And that and bad games aren't just games that are bad. They're also games that are weird. They're also like indie games. Like or art games or games that have like alternative ways of play. If it's not like the shit that you knew as a kid but really good, like you don't care. And you have a very strong opinion on it too, because also the world is terrifying and you have to learn that really quickly, and schools aren't prepared to set you up for that kind of stuff. California education system, not that I'm complaining, but I am. So, and then, like, you get into, like, the college years, and if their college years or anything, like my college years, you fall out of games for a while. Because you're busy just doing drugs and chasing girls, and then you come out and you're like, oh my God, I'm a fully formed adult now. Somehow. And then either you be an adult or you like revert right back into that like teenager shit. So
just fall right back into the gaming.
Right back into that like, no, all games are bad except for the ones I like.
Yeah, I had a couple friends also who just they kind of missed the whole section because I never really stopped. And I would say actually I play a lot less. I mean, I still play games, but I play a lot less than I did in like high school, college, because now it's like I don't have as much time, I guess.
Yeah,
and also, like I said before, I'm much more particular.
Yeah,
about
you're particular. You have like a career and a family, and like I'm
so
still like
you
a fuck.
You have to choose.
I'm kind of like I'm still a goober. Like I've got my projects, and those take up time, obviously, but I also like just like a single guy. Like I can if I want to throw like 75 hours at a game, I wake up at 28 and I'm alone. But at the same time, I platinumed Final Fantasy 15. Did I not platinum Final Fantasy 15? No one who's here right now because I live alone. It's great.
Yeah, for me, it's like if I'm gonna go, because I can still go fucking crazy playing a game.
Yeah.
I have to choose, and like so it's unfortunate, but it's like if a game doesn't grab me soon or like quickly, it's like okay, gotta move on. I mean, I gotta find the game I'm gonna play because I'm not gonna dedicate myself to beating every single game because I have no obligation to, first of all, and also because I do have I guess limited time.
We all have limited time.
That's true.
It's how you choose to spend it, and I choose to spend mine getting a platinum trophy in Final Fantasy 15. And that's how they'll sing songs of me.
Yeah, whole months of my life were just gone. New Leaf ate them, just swallowed them whole. Those months I cannot get back.
And you're like, I could have traveled, I could have read, I could have contributed something to this cold, cruel world.
Or
but like, look at all the bells I have. Look at all the bells. Fuck you, Tom Nook.
Yeah, complete museum. Fuck traveling. Traveling.
Traveling? What's that about? Fuck that.
Exactly. Is that getting the golden bug badge? I don't
Yeah,
think so.
because if it's not, then I don't want it.
Right. Oh, shit.
Fuck. Yeah, now I'm just
Fucking
thinking about
games,
Guardians
man.
Crusade, which was what a game. What a game.
What would you say? We're gonna wrap up pretty soon, but what would you say your let's say top 3 games?
Top three games of all time?
Yeah.
All right. There's going to be some controversial picks in here.
Okay.
Number
okay.
1 game of all time, and this is a deeply personal pick.
Okay.
It's a controversial pick. I
Okay.
don't care.
Okay.
Chrono Cross.
Okay. I have not played it. I've only played Trigger.
I will say this. I have struggled with clinical depression for most of my life. And as a kid, you don't really know how to deal with that.
Okay.
Especially like white people helicopter parents. They're like not really like into the whole like you get to go to a therapist and like we're gonna love
supporting
you,
in the right
support
way,
you in the
yeah.
right way. It's
Right.
more like if you're not getting fucking A's and everything, then I'm gonna kick your ass. So
Yeah.
that game really did like save my life. It's a very important game to me, and also it's really good. It talks about it was like talking about existentialism before I even really knew what it meant, but I knew it was very important, and I knew it was really like cool to have a perspective on and like have insight into,
Yeah.
and like playing it multiple times, you could like go through all these endings. There were so many like characters, and the music like. Yasunori Mitsuda's best soundtrack was Chrono Cross. Like, if you haven't heard the Chrono Cross soundtrack, it's like fucking great.
Okay.
So that would be my number 1. That's my number
Okay.
1. My number
Okay.
2, Gunstar Heroes for the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, I played a little bit of that. Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's an amazing game. It set the stage for like every action game that has ever come after it.
That's Treasure,
Like,
right?
Yeah, that's Treasure, which
Yeah.
have not done a lot since then. It was like it was like that Bangai-O and then Stretch Panic, and then I haven't seen anything from Treasure. Oh yeah, they made it again on the DS. They made
Oh, yeah.
the other one, but Stretch Panic, by the way, really fun. Not in my list, but Stretch Panic is like a weird PS2 game that was supposed to be a tech demo that they made into a game, where you are the younger sister of. It's kind of like a boss run game,
Okay.
but in between the bosses, you go to these weird like kind of like art house worlds where you flick giant breast women around with a giant black hand.
Oh, okay.
It's super Japanese, really fun. But
Okay.
Gunstar Heroes, like, that game is hot fire. The last of my top 3, and it jostles for position with another game,
Okay.
is BioShock.
Oh, that's one of mine.
Yeah,
I'll get into mine in a bit, but yeah.
BioShock, like, and I mean, anybody who loves BioShock generally has the same reasons for loving BioShock. It's for the time that it came out, it did not age well, but for the time that it came out, the visuals were like nothing I'd ever seen before. The combat was really clean.
I love the combat. Yeah.
The story was such like a fuck you, not just to the player, but to like playing games.
Yeah.
Like, it alters the way that you perceive playing video games. And it's so important. And the acting is on point. And the
love
characterization
the
is
voice
really
acting.
good.
Yeah.
Like, it popularized stuff. Like, and it's always funny when a game is like really genre defining. And you start to see that shit pop up in everything. Like, it really defined like the radio diary phenomena.
Yep.
Like, there were some games that had radio diaries here and there, but like nothing like BioShock. And then after that, every
Everyone
first-person
was doing
shooter
it.
had fucking radio diaries.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like, I could go on and on, but like, it's an amazing game that everybody should play. And
That
you can
game is
now. It's
fantastic.
remastered. So yeah, those are my top 3.
Okay. What'd you think of BioShock Infinite? Because I wasn't as into Infinite, although I enjoyed Infinite.
Yeah, and I'm gonna fall in the same camp there. I enjoyed Infinite. I didn't like it as much, but it's pretty clean too. It's like really fun. The storyline's kind of weird, but like after a couple playthroughs, I'm like, okay, like I get what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And then Burial at Sea just gets like funky, and
I didn't play that.
I liked Burial at Sea a lot. It's still
Okay.
really funky, and it loops. It gets into the whole like looping back around to the original kind of a thing, because it takes place in Rapture, and that's all weird. He plays Elizabeth in half of it, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, you play as two characters who you don't get to play as in Infinite because Booker's dead, as it turns out. So you don't get to play as Booker, which might be kind of spoilery for the first part, but I don't really care.
They've had time to play it.
And it's funny, like, one of the things I've always really liked about the BioShock games is that their cold opens are very, very good. Maybe not BioShock 2, but Minerva's Den, yes. And the cold open for BioShock Infinite, where you're in the elevator, you're in, like, the glass elevator, going up through the clouds, and, like, your character's freaking out, just looking around, it's like Nolan North or whatever it was, just like, and you part up past the clouds, and it says hallelujah, and it's just like this it's like the sun shining behind this, like, goddess, and it starts playing that old-timey ass, like, 1900s, like, bar music, and I was like, oh, fuck, like, this is fucking good.
Yeah, I think visually that game was, like, and atmospherically that game was great.
Yeah.
I loved the contrast from that compared to BioShock.
Yeah,
and the BioShock's intro with, like, Andrew Ryan's speech. Oh my god.
Dude, is a man not entitled? And I just, like, I quote that at people all the time.
Because
like in the lunchroom riot. Is a man not entitled to a cookie on his tray? No, says this asshole standing next to me.
And performance-wise, because, you know, I'm very passionate about voice acting, and so, like, that game's voice acting is so...
It's really good. It's really... Tenenbaum is great. Jack has, like, 2 lines, and they're both really good.
Yeah.
Andrew Ryan, obviously, crushing it.
Just,
like,
amazing.
Dr. Wu Chong, Sun Wu Chong, he's really great.
Yeah.
There's more people. Even like
Sander Cohen is
Sander Cohen is great.
An amazing
when they introduce him, that's a fucking great scene.
Yeah.
They just are really good. Anytime they introduce a new character in that game, that's another thing I really liked about it, is like you immediately know what that character is about. Like you instantly know what that character is about.
The characters honestly are what kind of define each area more so than, I mean, yeah, the areas are themed in some ways, but really there's usually a very strong character presence.
You know what I really like? I love the doctor. God, what's his name? The surgeon. Dr. Steinman.
Yeah.
Dr. Steinman's area looks like...
And that's one of the first areas.
Yeah. His area is supposed to be a hospital, but it looks like nothing. Like when you're going through it, like you're not introduced to like really a lot of Rapture yet. You've seen like a bar, which was really cool, and like the opening area, which is supposed to be cool. And then you're like in this series of like underground kind of tunnely areas. You're not really sure where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't really like aesthetically, it doesn't like go together. There's like a dentist chair in one part, and you're like, I don't really know.
Right.
Until you get to Steinman. And he has that speech.
Oh,
yeah, he has that speech where it's like, this one, too fat. This one, too ugly. And you're like, oh my God, he's crazy. And then you start realizing, like, oh, this is what, like, it. First of all, you know that he's crazy because you've been picking up the radio diaries. But then you're like, oh no, he's really fucking crazy. And also, like, everybody here is fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah.
God,
fucking
Steinman.
splicers.
Yeah. Fun fact, Steinman was one of he was on the mood board for Jin when we made him in League of Legends.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Like any game mood board just has other game stuff on it. It's great.
Yeah. Inspirations and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, top 3 games would be BioShock would probably be my number 1.
Nice.
Paper Mario would be my number 2.
Great game.
I would say I guess 99.9% into that game because I didn't get all the recipes.
Oh no!
Care. But I got it. I got every star piece, every badge, everything.
Like you could have 100%ed it if you wanted to.
But then that requires going to like fucking every place, getting every lemon and every flower,
like
and
who
my
cares?
Inventory is like 10 items. Like fuck that. It's not important.
Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, and that's my rule of thumb. It's like if I don't care about a certain one specific side quest, I'm not gonna fucking...
Yeah, that's the thing where I'm like, I wanted to get all the fish. Like, I wanted to get the pink J-Bar. I didn't like, you know, I didn't want to do all that for other games.
Yeah, I have no problem with something taking a long time as long as that process itself is fun or engaging to me or
Oh,
satisfying in some way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't care otherwise if it takes too long. I mean, I gold badged newbie. But
But that didn't take too long at all. That was a perfectly average amount of time for the thing that I wanted to
900
do.
hours, right, yeah. Third would be Final Fantasy 9.
Dude, I love Final Fantasy. Speaking of Final Fantasy 9, I literally was just doing Square Bowl over the weekend.
Yeah, I saw that. You were playing that.
Yeah, it was really funny because Final Fantasy 9, it's my favorite Final Fantasy. I love it
Absolutely.
to death. It's and you know, everybody falls fucking everywhere on the Final Fantasy franchise. Like, there are people out there who are like, I love 13, and I'm like, kill yourself, drown yourself. Because like you don't get to, and then every once in a while there's somebody that's like Final Fantasy 10 too. I'm like, get out. Final Fantasy 13 Lightning's Return. Get out. Get out of my sight. But like everybody falls everywhere. Although I haven't seen a Dirge of Cerberus person yet, and that gives me hope.
Nobody fucking likes Dirge of Cerberus.
I'm sure there's one fucking guy out there. There's got to be one fucking guy who's got like a web foot and a club hand, and he's like, it was the best game.
If you gave it a chance, you know, it's really it deserved much more praise. But
and then he gets into his iron lung. I was playing.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I was playing Final Fantasy 9 for this for Doctors Without Borders for charity, and it was so I was getting like nerd ragey because people were like not playing it right, and there's anybody who plays Final Fantasy 9 will tell you. There is a right way to play that game. There's like,
so what do you mean exactly?
If you're not,
how are they playing it?
They were optimizing equipment every time they bought new equipment, and were not learning skills.
They're not learning their little abilities.
See, you did the gasp. You did the gasp. I did the gasp.
That is ridiculous.
So one night,
you gotta learn the skills, then whatever.
Then whatever you want.
The damn skills.
So there was one night. It was like Saturday night, and the game was supposed to end on Sunday afternoon. They were going to fight Necron on Sunday afternoon, and I'm like, "Hey, can I drive?" Because like I forget who it was. I think it was somebody. It was somebody from Square Enix, I think, who was just like, "What's our equipment? I've never played. Like, I don't remember this game. All right, optimize. That's the best stuff. Let's go." And I'm like, "Hey, man, do you mind if I like drive for a little while?" Cool. Immediately switch everything around. I'm like, "No, we're grinding right now because you guys are like bullshit. You're gonna die everywhere."
Yeah,
because like every fucking like garbage status effect from the history of Final Fantasy is somewhere in Final Fantasy 9 as like a main mechanic of a dungeon. Like you gotta be prepared. You gotta have the skills. So yeah, I spent like 7 hours just making sure the party was okay, and I'm like, okay, I have the flu, so I'm gonna go to bed now.
Speaking of completion, that game, all the skills in that, I got, and this haunts me to this day. I got every skill for every character except one. Because it was, I forget, Steiner, I think?
Yeah, Excalibur 2. Excalibur 2.
Oh, is that it? No, I don't think... That's the one where you have to beat the game really fast,
Yeah,
right?
you have to get to the island in 24 hours.
It actually wasn't that.
Really?
Because I think you can get his skills on that somewhere else. There was... it's got to be. Because I got every skill for Steiner except one, and it was on a weapon that was... in the library, the secret library, in the third disc only.
No,
and if you don't buy that weapon, you can't get it after that because the inventory changes into disc 4.
Yeah, and they don't.
I did not know that.
And they don't put like there's a couple items they don't put in Dark City Trino's auction house. There's a couple, and that's one of the items. That's one of the items that doesn't go in the auction house.
Yeah, so that fucking devastated me because I did all the Chocobo Hot and Cold, got everything in that. Every skill, got all of Quina's frog eating skills or whatever.
Which man, Quina, like, oh man, when you get all of Quina's skills, like it becomes a monster.
Oh yeah,
like
it already was, but it becomes even more terrifying monster.
Between Earthquake and Tornado, like you can kill everything.
Yeah. But still, that one skill, fuck.
I've
beaten that game like 4 or 5 times, and I need to just go back and plan it out and get that last skill just so I can die in peace.
You're itching for it right now. I can hear it. I can hear it in your voice.
Oh man. Well, first Fire Emblem, then that.
Yeah.
I gotta go back. Fucking Fire Emblem. Fucking RPGs are usually what get me bad.
Yeah.
And it has to be a very specific kind of RPG. I find. All right, we're going too long, but I'm gonna talk a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, keep going. I'm fine.
Because I find like I tried going back to like Tales of the Abyss because I beat that when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I just don't really have the patience for it anymore. I enjoyed the game when I beat it the first time when I was younger, but now I just
Tales.
something about it.
There's something about Tales games that I cannot hack anymore.
That might be happening to me too because I really liked Vesperia on 360, and that's the last one I've really played.
Vesperia was like the last really good one though.
Oh, okay. I haven't played anything since, so I don't know if it's something about those games themselves because they are pretty long-winded, I guess.
The new one is really like jockishly sexist. It's pretty funny because they're literally they'll they have like the little party events on the map where you can talk to all your party members, and the main character is like this bestial Catwoman who only talks in ellipses.
Okay.
And so your party members will be like, man, don't girls suck? Yeah, girls are awful. They're not as good as guys at stuff. And then the girl character, the other one, will be like, yeah, girls are bad. Guys are the best. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Am I hearing this?
Yeesh.
So it's painful. It's one of those games like embarrassing to play.
Okay. I don't even know which is that. Berseria?
Yeah, this is Berseria.
Berseria.
Which they're running out of names. They're running out of fake names.
Keep them straight, yeah.
They're running out of fake made-up names.
Yeah. Okay. Well, dang. Well, I'm glad I got to sit down and talk to you.
Oh, dude, anytime. This was good. This was necessary.
Just there's a kinship in like our hunt completionist, and just I'm glad I can talk to someone who like kind of shares that burning desire to complete shit.
If I'm gonna get into a game, I can't not. Yeah. It's like a weird, crazy part of me.
Oh yeah, me too.
Berseria.
All right, where can we find you?
Well, no longer at youtube.com/hotpeppergaming, as it is
peace.
gone now. R.I.P.
Yeah.
But you can find me at twitter.com/notquitefrodo. You can buy my books, which are great. You can.
What are the titles?
The titles are the Nerdy Nummies Cookbook by Rosanna Pansino.
That's a great name.
Isn't it a great name?
Yeah.
You can find my title on the inside cover, which is where all the best authors go. But it counts. It went New York Times bestseller, and my name's in it, so it counts.
It counts. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's got an asterisk, but it counts. And then you can find my short stories in 3-6 Whiskey. You can buy my comics, which are The Things We Fear, coming out this year. And that will be a 9-part comic series, followed by a collection with a bonus issue at the end.
Nice.
So yeah, and then after that, The Slaughterhouse Gods will be out, so that'll be fun.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff coming, and stuff that you can already get. It's great.
Nice. Yeah. So did you say your Twitter or whatever?
Yeah, twitter.com/notquitefrodo.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else you want to plug out there?
Anything else I want to plug right now? League of Legends. You can play that. I work on that. I write the.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, it's like a MOBA,
underground,
multiplayer online battle arena game. I don't know. There's a lot of them. I help write the character dialogue for that small game, and you can see some of the cartoons I write and produce also on the North American webpage for that. It's great. They're great.
Well, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. And I'm looking forward to seeing what should all of you guys put out. I know
there's one thing that's coming out, I think, at the end of the year, and you're gonna either you're gonna really love it or you're gonna lose all respect for us as a brand. It's gonna be
or maybe both.
Or maybe both. Maybe both.
Well, I look forward to it. Thank you, man.
No problem.
All right, guys. Goodbye.
Goodbye.